Well, do you guys want to kind of get into the senior future games team now? Talk about
Yeah.
them a little bit. So we were on Team Heartland, like Hammett mentioned earlier, was Illinois players and Wisconsin players. So far from the event, 8 players have committed from Illinois. 2 Bradley commits, Adam Swanson, Connor McKay. Anthony Chavez is going to Illinois. Sam Chin is going to Ball State. Patrick Connors is going to Boston College. James Fiegelson is going to Illinois Chicago. Adam Kozak is going to Lewis. And then Alec Novotny is going to Valparaiso. I thought it was an awesome event this year, like especially when we had it earlier in the week. I thought a lot of coaches were down there watching the games. So really cool to see.
I loved
And
it. Yeah, get in there,
yeah,
Kyle.
real quick, Kyle Zeeble has also since committed to Lakeland, I believe.
Good
So
call. Yep.
just want to throw that out there as well. But go get in there, Drew.
Yeah, no, you guys kind of touched on it earlier, but last year was the first year we did the Senior Future Games, and it was a trial run. Weren't sure how many teams we could have. What is realistic with like guys that are still on the market, as they're going into their senior fall, and it does make the dynamics of this team a little interesting because we'll invite guys and then they'll commit over the summer. So then you're kind of having to move on and okay, well, who's next on the list? And you got to be prepared. You have to have a very deep list of like guys to invite. And last year we were mixed in with Indiana and Kentucky. But this year, after we realized, like, okay, the proof of concept is there. Like, this is a good event. Colleges were all over watching it. There's enough really good, 17 you guys still out there. So we had a few more teams. We were able this year to mix in with Wisconsin, which just makes a ton of sense from our home base. Like, we all work interchangeably between the two states, I would say. Our home base is like here in Chicago. So working with Wisconsin in general was just great from a flow perspective. Andy Soroka, Josh Fields, Vinny Rottino up there, and all of us kind of helped, put this team together. So all Illinois, Wisconsin players. You mentioned all the legit, commits. I have a couple guys that really stood out to me. I don't know how many I want to get into right now, but to me, one of the best players on the team, and arguably the best player at the event, and he won the MVP honors, Jace Matazinski. Auburn's getting a really good one there. I loved him as a position guy, like playing shortstop, floating around. He's got a long, levered frame that's only going to continue to get more physical. But he juiced a couple balls during game, like hit 2 home runs, a couple really loud ones. Tons of just energy and personality to him in general as like a human being, and it just shines on the field. And then he's like begging to get on the mound. We had seen it up to like 90, 91, maybe 92 earlier in the summer, and we didn't really have him slotted in. But we were able to get him like 12 pitches at the end of the event. You guys can, he's like sitting 92, 93. Might have touched maybe a 4. That might be aggressive. But crazy life out of the hand. And just put himself on the map as like one of the top two-way prospects in the country, I would say. And definitely at that event. So that was a huge, huge standout for me. Somebody I just wanted to give some love to. I know it's not an Illinois guy, but he was a part of that team. And I was like honored to just be like able to watch him and kind of see him do his thing. And you always love, at least for me, when a guy gets into that environment and shines. Like, that's what it's all about. So that was my, one takeaway there. I've got other guys too, but I'll let you guys get in there.
Yeah, Matachinsky was number 1 on my list. Again, I know this is an Illinois-centric podcast, but we wouldn't have been doing the event any justice by not talking about him. But everything you said, like, he seemed like a great kid. Obviously, he's a Wisconsin guy. Our Wisconsin crew has way more backstory on him than probably any of us do. But great kid. Super happy for him. He was a joy to be around in the dugout all week. And like you said, that's how it's supposed to look. Like, watching him float around the infield, watching him with the bat, man, it was, I think what you said is perfect. Like, he was probably the best player on that team, and now going to Auburn. So great get for them. Super excited to just continue to track him as he gets older and older.
I really liked watching Patrick Connors. I thought defensively in the outfield, it was really impressive, just the ability to like roam the outfield. And I think it was the state games actually, where he made like this play in center field. A few of us were up in the tower. I think it was me and you, Drew, and it was like a to his right, like at the fence kind of play or on the warning track, just running it down. But I mean, he's just a really good player. He had the fourth highest vertical jump at the event, 7 inches. We're in the seventh fastest 60 at the event, 6.41. So yeah, really good player there. I thought he was one that really showed well.
To your point on that,
6.41 is nuts.
Yeah,
that is absurd. That's crazy.
Crazy good run times on that senior future games team. I felt like all the athletic position guys all ran like they were athletic position guys, like sub 6.7s. To your point about Patrick Connors in that play, to me, like when you're playing on these turf fields, it is so hard when you're going up against the wall. I don't think people realize that. Like when you're playing on a natural surface and you go from grass to the warning track, it's called a warning track for a reason. Like you're getting close to the fence. But these turf fields, like they don't do a great job at certain parks, distinguishing between what the outfield is and like the warning track. So for him to not really know where that wall was, make the play up against the wall, fearless, and tracked it down, made it look pretty easy. Like, I think you're spot on. I think he's one of the best center field defenders in the state. And he was giving me plus run times, all week down at the senior future games, and so was Adam Kozak, left-handed hitting outfielder. Love the way he plays the game. It's hard-nosed. It's hard out of the box every time. Like he knows he can run and he shows it off. And that's what it's all about. Like he doesn't take a play off. And I loved watching Adam Kozak. And that to me is like a separator. There's a lot of good players there, but from running a 4.4 down the line to running a 4.07 down the line is a huge, huge separator. And I thought both of those guys did that consistently. Like Lewis is getting a really good one in Adam Kozak. Left guy, football player, only going to get stronger and better. So I love the Patrick Connors call out, and I'll just stick there in the outfield with Adam Kozak.
Yeah, I had Kozak written down as well. Like, to me, he's a twitchy athlete who can probably play all 3 outfield spots at the next level. And, like, he's only getting better. Like, it's kind of crazy to think about, like, the progression he's been on. Kind of came out of nowhere for us down at the Kickoff Classic last spring. And now he's going to Lewis, which I think is a fantastic fit on both sides. I think that's a really great spot for him to go play and get better. Like that's a great program. Not to just fluff Hammett's feathers here. He's a Lewis alum, but like that's a really good program. You look at what they've been doing the past couple years, especially George Bilecki getting drafted. I know we'll talk on that next week out of Lewis, but I think that's a really great fit for Adam.
I agree. Couldn't agree more. One guy that I want to mention that I just think is a cool story, Keenan Donaldson. So we saw him at the West Suburban Open, I believe, at Lee Fun Field, and we didn't really have much on him, but he showed really, really well. I remember Drew went up to him and was like, "Hey, buddy, like you're invited to the Illinois State games," and we ended up turning that into an invite to the senior future games, obviously, and he finished 3 for 7. And I thought he just handled the heck out of the arms, and like the defense was really strong. I thought that was just a cool story. I don't know if you guys had anything on him, but I just thought that was cool.
Totally.
Yeah, I think
he's a guy that like has not only emerged for us this summer, but he kind of emerged for New Trier last spring. Worked his way into the lineup, worked his way up in the order, from what I understand, and he was a no doubt state games invite guy from what I saw at that West Suburban Open, and he was a guy that some of our interns and some of our other staff saw at Rantoul show well in the summer. And I love that because I kind of known the name going into the event, and then I'm keeping an extra eye on him, at that showcase. Like, how real is Keenan Donaldson? And like you said, I thought he handled the bullpens really well at that event. I really liked it in like the actual pop time, throwing down to second workout. It was very clean. The arm played with some carry. It was the right actions, and he can hit. So, guy's got a bright future. Tyler, were you going to say something on him as well?
Yeah, like I thought him as well as Drew Satunis and Adam Swanson, all of our catchers really handled themselves well all week. I thought all of them worked hard behind the plate. Keenan threw out a runner or two, if I remember correctly, as well. I know Swanson did as well, off the top of my head. But like I think when you look at New Trier, like last year they had a really good catching duo of Jake Benavenga and Nick Sitchell. Now they'll be able to replace Benavenga with Donaldson this year to pair with Sitchell, which to me, I think if you have two really good catchers at the high school level, that's such a luxury. You can give guys, DH time at DH, save their legs. So no, really happy for Keenan. I think it's a great story, like Hammett said. The next guy I want to get in on, Anthony Chavez out of Mount Carmel. This is a kid he's always hit for us. I feel like anytime we go out to a game in the spring, see him at a tournament, whether it's the summer or the fall, the kid just hits. And he's now starting to get even more physical and hit for power, which is something I kind of talked about last year. I think after the fall when I saw him, just something that it's like that power is only going to come, like continue to come moving forward. I think Drew was like, we see Anthony on the first injuries, like, are you still growing? Like, it seems like he gets taller every time we see him too, and he's like, I don't think I'm done growing. So he's now committed to Illinois. Super happy for Anthony. I thought he was like a steady Eddie all week. Took great at bats. He hit a absolute moonshot game one to get us going at the Senior Future Games, and then he also ran a 6.88 at 6'3", 216. Like, the kid can frickin' move. So, really happy for Anthony. I thought he was a great story that week as well.
Couple.
He consistently, sorry, Gav, he consistently gets off like really good swings too. And that was one thing where like he would take a swing and we just kind of all look at each other like, oof, like he'd like foul one straight back. We're like, oh man, if he like connects there, that thing is absolutely gone. But yeah, I mean, to move like that at that size, like he told us he wants to play in the outfield too. Like he can play first base, obviously, like that's kind of where we had him. But he's athletic enough to be out there in left to right field. So I mean, that's a really intriguing profile, especially I think Illinois is a great spot for him for sure.
Just a couple data nuggets from him. He had the third highest max exit velocity at the event, the second highest average exit velocity at the event, which was 99.6, which 99.6 average is insane. He had the highest average bat speed of 85.2, and he had the fifth furthest max batted distance of 395 during that workout. So some crazy, crazy numbers there for Chavi.
And a couple things that stick out to me on Chavez, and I saw it this spring when I saw him play for Mount Carmel, is there's a lot of guys with power in the state, but it's like they only have power if they sell out and it's to the pull side and it's on a fastball. Like Chavi hit a home run on a breaking ball, and he has power to both gaps. I saw him in the spring hit a home run to left center. I also saw him drive a ball to deep right on the warning track in the spring. But it's easy, it's very controlled, it's balanced, and it stays through the zone and up the middle of the field. And like that just tells me he's going to have a chance to hit for average and power, which I love. And you factor in the left-handed bat, the frame, the fact that he runs a 6.88, like who knows what the position profile can be in the future, but he can recognize spin. Like the right-handed changeup for him is going to be something that is, the more he sees of that and gets used to seeing that, like the better off he's going to be. Because really, right now, it's like the only thing that I see that can really get him off these quality arms. Like he can handle the velo, he can see the spin. It's that right-handed changeup that's going to be hard for those lefty hitters. But I love Chavez. I thought he was an awesome individual and kid in the dugout as well. Like that goes a long way. I am rooting hard for him. And Bobby Seymour, we mentioned these guys that have made the big leagues kind of early on in this podcast. We talk about McCade Brown. Like Bobby Seymour at Mount Carmel just got called up with the Rays. He was putting up huge numbers in the minor leagues, but same high school, left-handed hitting first baseman. They had similar power in high school. Like Seymour had ridiculous raw power. Chavez maybe doesn't have that kind of raw power. But Seymour, you watch some of his highlights from the minor leagues going into the big leagues, like he's homering to left center. like staying inside the baseball. He can also homer to right, but I kind of see similarities there in Chavez and Bobby Seymour. So same high school, obviously a few years apart, but bright future for Anthony Chavez.
Well, do you guys want to kind of move over to the future games now? I know there's.
I got a couple guys.
All right, go for it.
I do too.
I'll make it a little quicker here. Sorry, I'll steal the thunder on some guys, but like James Fiegelson, St. Charles East, I'm sure he's on some of our lists. Like he commits to UIC. Really stood out to me. Like it's a very physical yet like growing frame, like wide shouldered, 6'2", already presently really good looking, like how you would draw it up, but I think there's more to come. And he can really defend on the infield. Like it's natural, it's smooth, and I like the right-handed bat. He took a ton of good at bats. He's a really good player that should be climbing up our list. Thought Adam Swanson had some of the best barrels of the event. 2 doubles to right center that I remember that were really impressive swings. So thought he did well for himself. And then there were some arms as well. But before we get into the arms, if there's any position guys you guys want to, or if you have anything else you want to mention on those guys.
I love both those shout outs. A couple other guys like Drew Satunis. I thought he was maybe one of the more unlucky guys at the plate. Like he had some really long at bats. Like, and as pitchers on this podcast, like you hate those guys that like just won't get out. He fouled off a ton of stuff, and I just felt like he was a really tough out all week. He probably didn't have, the box score he wanted for the week, but that's a kid who I think, I know everyone on this podcast is really high on Drew, but thought he had a good week, despite probably not getting the stat line he wanted. Kyle Zeeble, another guy that I feel like can defend up the middle, and he ran a 6.69 at the event, so he can run too. So, just wanted to shout out both those position guys, but I'm eager to get in on these arms, Drew, so I'm going to toss it back over to you.
You mentioned it, like, I felt like there were 2 guys, one at the senior future games, one at the future games, that kind of did get unlucky, and Satunis being a left-handed hitter, I felt like every time he came up, it was against a lefty arm. And Keegan Sipe, who was also at the future games, I felt like it was kind of the same way. So, those are kind of, I don't know if they're tough breaks, but it's an opportunity for Drew to show, hey, I'm going to hang in there off a lefty. Like, and I'm going to compete and I'm going to battle, and I'm not just an easy out, even though I can say, oh, it's left, and he's got a really good breaking ball. Man, he hung in there and took some good at bats. So yeah, let's get in on these arms. One position guy that does probably deserve a mention is Kalen Tomzik from Wisconsin, outfielder. Was a burner running the 60. I don't know the exact time, but it was 6.6 or better. And was hammering baseballs all week. So Kalen Tomzik, Wisconsin, outfielder, really impressive stuff there. But let's get in on the arms.
I feel like there's one we have to start off with, and it's got to be Sam Finn out of Plainfield North. I mean, his outing was like, holy crap, right? Like, I think for all of us. Now, I saw him really good in the spring. It was early in the year. Seemed like he kind of didn't have the best spring after that as a whole, but like he comes out and it's dominant. He's up to 91 with the fastball, getting 2,800 on a curveball, and he was just kind of carving guys. Gets a couple guys on, and then he just works right out of a jam. So I thought he was probably the biggest winner on the mound for that team as a whole. Huge upside there with Sam Finn. Like, I still think the best is yet to come with that kid.
The sky's the limit for him. I mean, he could be, if he's in the zone, that's a pro guy at some point, whether it's early, whether he really figures it out and is out of high school or after a few years of college. But that kid, I think he can throw 100 one day and the metrics are out off the charts. Like, that breaking ball, when he throws that hard and down, like, you just can't even hit that. It's 3,000 RPM. And he's pairing that with 91. Like, yeah, good luck, buddy. Like, you just don't stand a chance off that. Drew, were you about to say something off him too?
I mean, he's a stud. Shout out Sam Finn. So happy for you because you just put yourself on the map as one of the top arms in the state. And you mentioned pro guy, like it's 100% a pro follow. He's 6'3", 200. He's up to 91. He threw strikes, showed feel for a breaking ball, and he rips it. Throws it up to 80 with the high spin that you're talking about, and it's got like really late hard downer to it. So you're finding a lefty with just tons of arm talent. massive body, looks like he could be a workhorse with some feel. Like, I know he's been scattered at times, but like you're gonna bet on that and take a chance on that all day long. So I know he's bound and set to make a huge splash in our rankings, along with the Anthony Chavez's of the world, and like rightfully so. But like shout out to you, Sam Finn, because I know he's getting a ton of attention. That's one of the cooler things too is I had some of these guys at the future games, senior future games. Then we see them again at the state games. I'm like, hey, like, how's it been since that event? It's like, oh my gosh, like the phone is just blowing. Like, it's so cool to hear that. That these guys go down, do their thing in front of that many schools, and it pays off. And that's what it's all about. So, pumped for Sam Finn.
To add on to the Sam Finn part of this is, Drew, I want to say it was you asked him right after he threw, hey, like, who's been talking to you? He names a few schools. The next day, okay, which I think's really cool too, like, these POs can leave after they pitch at this event. A lot of these guys stayed for the duration of the event, which I think says a lot about the kids in general. Not that we would think any differently of the guys if they leave early. Comes back the next morning, he's kind of hanging around. Me and him are like, we have to ask, how's it been since yesterday? And he's like, yeah, I heard from a bunch of different schools. And he's like, rips off him. It was like 10 to 15 schools. Yeah. So, like you were saying, like it's really cool. I think that's one of the best parts of this event, what it does for those guys, sometimes immediately. So, just wanted to throw that in there on Sam as well.
Any arms stick out to you, Pete, that you want to touch on?
I got one more. Connor McKay. He was kind of like one of the last arms to throw for the whole thing, but I mean, he worked 2 really quick and clean innings, and he was up to 90. And then, like we were just saying, comes to the state games, and he kind of had a weird situation at the state games. Like, there was an injury, so he had to get loose like really fast, and came in and was dominant. And now he's going to Bradley, so that's cool to see. It's a quick turnaround for the commit there. That's awesome because it's cool to see like we saw Bradley sitting on us and like watching our games, and then to see like they get their guy or like their guys, like 3 of them so far. It's just cool. Just cool to see how that plays out. But I thought Connor was a big winner, prepped for a big spring. Another really projectable kid. Like, that dude, his best days are still very much ahead of him. Like, he's got so much more growing physically to do, and just maturing physically. Like, man, that's what it looks like. Those long levered, skinny, young looking guys. Like, you bet on those guys.
I'll just go rapid fire on 3 more guys, but Sam Chin out of St. Lawrence, he's now committed to Ball State. Silky smooth lefty. He's like the same guy every time we see him, and that's a compliment. Can really move down the mound. Can throw 3 pitches for strikes. He's now committed to Ball State, so kudos to him. Alec Novotny, I know, Gavin, you kind of mentioned him, but like another guy, he's always like he just pitches like high pitch ability, goes right at guys. He's now committed to Valpo. And then Trey Cole out of Champaign Central. Athletic kid on the mound. Kind of looks like those middle infielders on the mound, which, Drew, I know that's something I feel like Dunk has kind of said, bet on those guys. He was up to 91, and I thought he threw strikes in his outing. He was he had some bad luck happen behind him in one of his innings. But, man, I just wanted to shout out those 3 guys for senior future games. But we can move over to future games.
Yeah, it's hard. It's like, I'm a huge fan of Chase Rhodes out of Tremont. Big, physical, wide-shouldered, and I thought the fastball was coming out really good. He's a low 90s guy. And, Ryan Harris up to 93 as well. Like, 6'2", 200 pounds, big spin on the fastball. There was a lot of talent, which is great to see. And we're not, I feel like we mentioned a ton of guys, but yeah, we probably should go on to the future games here.